Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to take you along as I do a little bit of gardening and a whole lot of sourdough baking. Come on into my kitchen. Today I am making a really delicious sourdough sandwich bread, which I am actually cutting the recipe in half and making half of it into a loaf of sandwich bread and the other half into hamburger buns for dinner tomorrow night. It's a super simple recipe, only one bowl, and there's no stretch and folding. So what we're doing is I am using 2 cups of active bubbly sourdough starter and putting that into my bowl with a half a cup of water and just getting that mixed together with a Danish whisk here. And then I'm going to add 5 cups of flour. Now I'm using half fresh ground einkorn flour and half all-purpose flour, but you can use all-purpose flour. You can use, I definitely recommend using some all-purpose flour if you want whole wheat. I'm going half and half, but I wouldn't go more than that with these. And then you can also use bread flour, would be great too. So 5 cups of flour, and make sure you're measuring that right. You don't want it to be too much flour. So make sure you scrape off the tops. And then next I am adding in 4 egg yolks, just the yolk, not the white. So separate those. You can use the whites later for some pavlova or something yummy, or just a healthy scrambled eggs. But it's going to be 4 egg yolks, and this gives this dough a super rich crumb and color, and a little bit denser of a bread, but it's delicious. And so 4 egg yolks to this bowl, and then you are going to add 1/3 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of softened butter. Once you get all that in your bowl, you just mix it as much as you can with a wooden spoon or your Danish whisk. And then once it's getting too thick for you to stir with a spoon, you're going to start using your hands and kneading all those wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. And it's really shaggy at first. It takes a little bit for the flour to absorb the moisture, but once you get it to this point where you can form it into a ball, you'll start kneading it on your counter, and you're going to knead it for about 10 minutes to turn it into a nice, soft, elastic ball of dough. Now you could do this in an electric mixer, but I thoroughly enjoy kneading dough. It is therapeutic. It is relaxing, and I just really enjoy doing it. So I am doing it by hand. I'm not in a big hurry right now, but it is a good recipe for moms that are short on time. Just do it in your electric stand mixer. If you like me, enjoy the journey and kneading the dough. Once your dough is smooth and elastic, you are going to oil your bowl and then put your dough ball in there, turn it to coat it in the oil, and cover it with a clean towel and let it rise in a warm place. So my warm place is on top of my stove, just a nice warm place where it can sit and rise for hours until it has doubled. So my house is about 72 degrees today, and it took about between 4 and 5 hours for this dough to double in size. The reason it takes a little bit longer with this dough is because it does have the butter and the eggs in there, which slow down the fermentation process a little bit. Once it's doubled, you're going to remove your clean towel, take your dough out of the bowl, and then you're going to divide it in about half. Now, if you're making just sourdough sandwich bread out of this recipe, you are going to make 2 loaves of sourdough sandwich bread. So just evenly use your dough scraper to cut that in about halves, and then you're going to shape it into the shape of your loaf pan. And this is a 9x5 loaf pan, so I am just stretching it out about the size of my loaf pan, roll it up, and then I am going to press it down with my fingers and make it about the same length as my dough pan, and then roll it up again. And then I'll seal the sides by pinching them together, or seal the seam by pinching it together with my fingers. And you're going to want to place that into a very well buttered 9x5 loaf pan. So that is a recipe for 2 of the sourdough sandwich breads, but I am actually going to use the other half to make sourdough hamburger buns. This is the exact same dough recipe for sourdough hamburger buns, and I am going to make 6 because that's how many people I'll be feeding hamburgers or sloppy joes to tomorrow night. And so I am just going to get these into 6 even pieces, shape them into a nice ball, and flatten them out a little bit as I put them on my parchment paper lined baking sheet. And then I'm going to let these rise until double on the stove. The loaf of sourdough sandwich bread I am going to cover, or actually I'm going to place it in a plastic bag and put it in the refrigerator and let that rise overnight. So I'm just covering the hamburger buns with a clean towel to rise, and then I am putting this sourdough sandwich bread into a plastic bag. I'm going to tie it tight so that it doesn't dry out on top while it's in the refrigerator for about 8 hours. And then I'm going to put it in the fridge overnight and let that one just relax in the refrigerator, and we'll come back to that tomorrow morning. For the hamburger buns, I am oiling the top of these because I don't want them to get hard on top. I want them to keep rising really well. I did press them down also so that they're flatter like a hamburger bun. And then I'm just going to cover these with a clean towel and let them rise on my stove top. And these rose for about another 4 hours. And then I am going to bake them in a preheated oven at 350 degrees for about 25 minutes until they're nice and golden brown on top. I always like to butter the tops of my fresh breads and rolls, so I am going to spread the top of these with butter, and I also do that with my sourdough sandwich bread, and that just keeps them from getting crusty on top, so they're nice and soft. And these are going to make awesome hamburgers for tomorrow. I will slice one in half and let you see what it looks like inside. And these are really good. I hope you give this recipe a try. Okay, it is now the next morning, and which is actually today. I am going to just take this out of the refrigerator, and I am just going to use my sourdough razor to score the top of this. I'm just doing a quick line down the middle. You can do something fancy if you like. And then just cover it with a clean towel and let it rest at room temperature for a full hour. It is important to let it come up to room temperature before you bake it. And then we're baking it at 350 degrees for 35 minutes. And it is golden brown on top. Of course, I'm going to butter the top of this sourdough sandwich bread the same as I did the sourdough hamburger buns. And then we will let it cool for about 10 minutes at least before you slice it. This just makes a really soft, nice loaf of sourdough sandwich bread. I love the darker color. It does have a little bit of whole wheat in there, so that makes it a little bit darker too, but the egg yolks definitely add to that color and to the soft texture of this sourdough sandwich bread. So I'll just show you what that looks like in the middle, and then I will top it with some softened butter and enjoy this. Okay, if you remember, we went to the nursery a couple videos back and I bought this shade flower basket, but we had one freezing night and it killed the coleus on top of this. There's some begonias in here too, and those ones are still alive. They survived. They're not very happy, but I'm going to replant the top of this flower basket, and I am actually going to keep it closer to the house where it's a little bit more protected. And so I am just adding some pansies to the top, removing the coleus, and hopefully this basket will fill out and be beautiful throughout the summer season. Come out to my back garden. I'm so excited right here. We planted zinnias, a whole bunch of them in front of the chicken coop, and then putting down new weed barrier, which I can't wait to put mulch or rock on top of. And we redid all of our garden boxes. So there's 12 raised beds over here. And I am going to fill this one up with these sweet little squash plants. These are my favorite butternut squash. But I actually bought these like a week ago, and they've been sitting out waiting for a warm day because it has been cold lately. So I am filling this front box with butternut squash plants, and then I'm going to water them in. I got this really nice dirt from Ontario Rock and Landscape Supply. They do have really nice garden soil if you're local and you're looking for garden soil. But it's a really nice mix with some manure mixed into it, so it should be nice, and these should be very happy and grow. I just love having butternut squash around. And then I am going to also put in some drip line in these boxes so that I don't have to water them by hand. I am also planting 3 jalapeno plants and 2 sweet pepper plants, and I am going to put these on 2 separate sides of this 8x12 garden bed. I do not want them to cross-pollinate because the sweet peppers will become spicy if they are too close to the spicy peppers. So I am going to plant the middle of this garden box with lavender because that is a perennial. Hopefully they'll live. If they survive the first year, then they will keep coming back year after year. But I am hoping that I can just separate my 2 different types of peppers with the lavender, and that will eliminate any cross-pollination. A few seasons back, I planted some sweet peppers by one of my citrus rose bushes, and you can taste what is next to it. And I think it's the bees, I'm not sure, but it is nice to have a little floral taste in your peppers. So we've got the sweet peppers on this side, the spicy peppers on the other side, and then I will show you what it looks like with the lavender. So I ended up picking up 5 lavender bushes. 4 of them are the same. 1 is a little bit different. So the one in the middle is an angustifolia, I believe, lavender plant, and hopefully these will survive and be beautiful for years to come. I definitely want to be able to cut some of that lavender and bring it inside. We've been working really hard on our garden lately, and it's getting so close. This is the third year that we've had this garden. I've got this box full of gladiolas, which I'm super excited for. They're huge and beautiful blooms. And then this poor box was full of dahlias, but they froze that one night. I left them in here. We put in a little bit more soil, and it looks like they're coming back. So I'm super excited. There are some weeds in this box that I need to weed too, but I believe my dahlias are coming back, and I'm super excited that I did not waste those. And you can also see how we have the drip lines set up in these boxes. And these are the 2 strawberry boxes. I did go ahead and put straw down in one of these, and these also have the drip lines, so I don't have to worry about watering those either. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration for your own home and garden. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and we'll see you next time.